Hi, this is Craig Lane with Large Intestine Cleanse, week 3. Talked about getting hit from behind, and so there's sort of a natural reaction that comes out of that. It's a feeling, and if we have a snake on us, there's a natural feeling, but the emotion, say, you jerk, you hit me from behind, that's more of an emotion. So the point being is that there's a way to sort of more flow through life. We're going to move on to slide 5 now about the toxic stress cycle. And really comes back to discernment in our food choices is kind of the start, and what's driving those choices, and how do we prepare our food. And chewing is also from preparing our food for digestion. And so in slide 5 here, because we're cleansing, we spend a bit of time in our group, and if you're doing this online, spend some time to consider maybe what's driving our behavior, and are we making good food choices, and are we seeking out higher forms of education and questioning the standards upon which our health is based, And one of those is, I found, that is chewing food definitely adds more health to the body and makes digestion easier. So if you note that the last step at the bottom of the slide is the last step of the toxic stress cycle. The last step is the toxic stress cycle, and it builds all the way through. If you go down to slide 8, then you'll see the last step is the endocrine organs are affected and communication suffers, and we can't time digestion properly. So slide 5 does that great job of just getting us started to understand that the toxic stress cycle starts with digestion and waste buildup. We can look at slide 7, jump around a tiny bit. Slide 7 shows us that digestion must generate energy from food, and some of us produce more waste from food or from digestion than others, and the lower the quality of food we eat, the more waste is generated. So when I say some of us, in the slide says some of us produce more waste from food than others, I mean some of us just aren't burning our fuel as cleanly as others, and there's waste products and sludge that builds up. I'm one of those unfortunate folks, and I think some of it's just also emotionally driven, which is at the bottom of the slide, how we hold our emotions, thoughts, and stress. So we generate normal waste from digestion and normal metabolism because cells are also digesting in a sense. We're also having waste build up in our body from the microbes, the pathogens in our body, and that varies by person, of course. The more pathogens, the more waste that our cells have to deal with, our tissues have to deal with. And then we have the outside environment, and in 2013, October, we're dealing with unprecedented levels, debatably, of course, amounts of waste in the environment we have to deal with, and that just fuels this toxic stress cycle, which slide 8 goes over in great detail. And none of this is like step by step, like things don't necessarily, I alluded to this last week, things don't follow a set pattern. Little bits are occurring here and there, but this is just a great conceptual model. So the way out of this is slide 9, and you're doing it if you're cleansing. You're improving digestion, and you're having your food choices limited in the container of what you're doing here today. And then we remove waste, and those 4 steps here. And I would think that questioning what the quote-unquote experts say and raising our standards a bit higher and seeking out different and newer standards is really going to be helpful. And one of those things is just knowing we have more energy for things is really an important realization. So the way out is you're already doing it, and please, please, please just monitor yourself and monitor your chi or energy, monitor your moods and your thoughts, and notice if things are recycling inside. That's kind of what we want to improve digestion and remove waste from the gut, and then our thinking gets clearer, basically. Then slide 6 we didn't go over very much, but that's the reminder of the foods for this last week of the cleanse. And think soothing. So you have a lot of slime foods here. Okra has 3 stars next to it. Purslane has 3 stars next to it. If you're, this is a late summer season, this is what's in season for us on the West Coast. Chia and flax seeds and raw eggs are sort of slimy and soothing, and some people don't tolerate the whole white when it's raw, so you want to cook it and leave the yolks raw maybe. Cooked parsnips and cooked winter squashes like kabocha or pumpkin, Okra appears here again. Um, Pumpkins and cooked carrots and cooked fennel are all great soothing foods. Um, Cooked onions this week versus raw are very such a full of soluble fiber and soothing. And if you're going to have apples or pears this week, like I baked some pears this morning with some cinnamon, a bit of salt, and some lemon juice until they were soft. That'll be my dessert tonight. And then we look at cooked carrots again, and chia seeds, raw sunchokes are a great food for the gut bacteria. And then your special supplements. And I would mention Tulsi tea is a mainstream herb that one can use for the nervous system and the brain and the adrenals. It's just overall a really great and revered herb in Ayurveda in India. And there was some evidence presented on the Organic India website. I can't verify this or not, but on their site they were claiming that it helps the glial cells in the brain and nervous system detox. And apparently the nervous system has a whole different way of detoxing than the rest of the body. And I can't validate that or not because I haven't done enough research, so I will claim nothing there other than subjective experiences that Tulsi seems to be a soothing kind of cool tea to drink. And it tastes pretty good, actually. It doesn't taste like regular basil. Like basil is sort of a bitter tea, but this is kind of a nice mellow. You should try it for yourself to see. It mixes well. They have different flavors in the Organic India. Now I'll move on to slide 9. Which we just finished, pardon me. Move on to slide 10 is a Rumi poem, and this is a photo I found called Spiral of Two. It was on Google Images, I believe. It's been on my computer for quite a while, but I reposted it during this cleanse because, just the wonder here. And The Guest House is a great, great, great poem, and I'm just going to go ahead and read it. And this guest house this being human is a guest house, every morning a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably, he may clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. So this ties in with the rest of it. You may ask how, and I would say it's this thing about allowing and knowing that during a cleanse things are going to come up in us, and this is just meeting them at the door graciously. Slide 11, the last slide of the day, is a reminder for next week is our last meeting, and if you're doing this online, please follow an order and don't read them all at once, although you could. And this a reminder of how our gut flora goes. And if you're doing this online, then please send me, when you're done with the cleanse, your photos of your eyes and your feet and your tongue. And if you do have a blood pressure cuff, we will have gone over this about how to take your blood pressure or have someone else do it, lying down for a few minutes and then standing up and immediately taking your blood pressure. And this week, take more rest and get fewer things in your life, and that would work wonders for you. So wishing you all a wonderful week. Notice the gut flora here. These diagrams, one is a small sample of the villi. The next one is the actual cells that grow up the villi, and the one on the far right is an example of a healthy gut cell with lots of villi full of digestive enzymes, and the other one's an unhappy cell that's on its way to becoming cancerous, and it even looks sort of ugly. I love the cartoon depiction here. This is from the GAPS book by Natasha Campbell McBride, giving her full credit. Hoping you'll have a wonderful day. In part 2 of Large Intestine Cleanse, week 3, jump out there, and I'm feeling pretty good today. Even this is the second take on this whole thing, and still feeling good, and wishing you and your final week great.